Okay, I think I'm here. Hello, everyone. Hey, Cameron. Let's see. So, per the usual, I am experiencing some technical difficulties. So, let me see if I can figure out what is happening. Let's see. I can't really tell if you guys can see me. So if you are on Instagram, would you let me know if you could see me or if you can see me? I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll get this show on the road. All right, let's see if we can figure out what's happening with Instagram. Not exactly sure what is happening. I can see that the Instagram. Oh, wow. Let's see here. Okay, let me try this again. Trying to troubleshoot my live stream on Instagram. It seems like something is happening. Let me see. We can figure it out. Let me try this again. Let's see if I can try this again. Okay. I think that should have fixed our Instagram feed, but thank y'all for joining. If you don't know, I can't see who's on with me right now. So drop your name in the comments so that I can have a chat with you. And I would love for you to interact with me and ask me questions as I'm just kind of updating you guys on what's been going on with the Wildflower Alliance. I'm so proud of the work that we've done, and I am just honored that I feel like I was chosen by God to do this work, to join into the ongoing work that had already been started by so many before us or before me, and alongside many of the amazing organizations that are already here in Birmingham doing the work. So, um, if you are here from Instagram, drop me a comment in the chat. I'm so excited. If you are not Henry or Brittany, let me know, and I would love to interact. Looks like I'm still having some issues with Instagram. Let me see. I can't tell from my end. Oh, 1 second. Okay. My team is telling me that Instagram is still not showing, so I'm hoping that I just corrected the issue. Um, um, all right, Stephanie. Again, my team is letting me know that we're here. So I'm so excited that you guys are here. And let's just kick this off and get this show on the road. Let me see. Let me come back over into okay. So, hey, Daddy, that's my dad, Clinton Reeves. So I'm so excited that you've joined, Dad. And let me see. I was trying to give us some more time to let some others join us. Like I said, I know we kind of threw this up. Let's see if I could get on. Let people know that we're on. Giving Tuesday is always so much fun. We did Giving Tuesday last year, and it was great. We had so much support, and I'm just honored to see all of the amount of people that have supported us and have admired us and the work that we're trying to do in our state. So let me see if I can. Given Tuesday last year, and it was great. Have supported us and have admired us. All right. Well, um, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. I think that this will be up for a little while, so it'll be fun to just kind of recap some of the things that have gone on this year. And we did, say that we have some giveaways. So, I'm excited to dive into that. So let's just kick it off and get started. So, Wildflower Alliance has been on the move. We have done a lot of work this year. I mean, I don't even know where I should start. So, first, I can say, we did our Come Row With Me basketball camp. Well, first, let me just kind of tell you a little bit about the Wildflower Alliance. We are a nonprofit based right here in Birmingham, championing families of children with disabilities. So our goal, we have our sight set on being able to support all individuals regardless of their age. But of course, what I tell a lot of people right now, in my own disability journey, we're 6 years on. My daughter is 6 years old, so I know what I know as it relates to where we are in our journey. So it's of course easier for me to reach out and touch the people that's standing right next to me. But for sure, I plan to, continue to scale a lot of our efforts and make sure that we are able to support all individuals, because it's a need. And even with some of the efforts that are going on, I feel like the more the merrier, right? There's strength in numbers. So the more we can create work, even if it feels like, we are servicing the same, age group, population, whoever. I feel like I do believe, I'm a firm believer in people having options. And so, I'm all about that for the disability community. So hats off to all of the organizations that's out here doing the work and creating space and opportunities for families of kids with disabilities and teens, youth and teens with disabilities, as well as those adults, regardless of what their disability is. And so I'm really excited to, like I said, be alongside so many great people. So yeah, I think that like I said, TWA was kind of born out of my own journey. Tell you a little bit about Harper. Harper is the 6-year-old. She's in first grade, brilliant. And she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy and epilepsy when she was almost 2 years old. So our journey is that we had no idea, what we were, faced with. We had no idea that Harper was gonna, walk this walk. It was not until she started showing delays when she was around 9 months, and even then we were just told delays. And so to a first-time parent, saying delays means that I'll eventually catch up. So that's what we thought that we were looking at. But as she continued to grow and progress, there were some noticeable things, like the spasticity. When she tried to stand or walk, it was almost like she was, what I used to describe it as, like she was so excited, like it was just like, calm down, because you could do it if you just loosen up, like she's tense. But that was actually spasticity. And so every time she actually tried to make a movement, it was that spasticity that was preventing her from actually completing the movement, like she should. And then continuing on, we started noticing her using one hand. That's always a telltale sign of cerebral palsy, when a child utilizes one or favors one side of their body more than the other. And so we did start to notice that, again, not until she started to develop. So there were lots of signs that we started to see. And then, like I said, around 2 years old, she started having seizures. And so, now she then became diagnosed with epilepsy. Her seizures were not anything like anything we had ever seen. Her seizures happened during her sleep. We didn't know she was having a seizure because she was asleep, and she was twitching. And the very obvious and noticeable signs to us were the fact that she had vomited. She would sometimes, you could lose your bowels sometimes, and so that never really happened, but we did have like wet diapers, so we think that could have been happening. And she was twitching, and she was unconscious. So when you call her name, she was not responding. Her eyes were deviated. But you are typically used to seeing these compulsions or, very violent jerking and things like that. That wasn't the case for us. So we, once again, didn't know that this was epilepsy. So we found out, that she had focal epilepsy, and that's pretty much what her diagnoses are. But they don't define her. She's still a 6-year-old. She enjoys all the same things that most 6-year-olds do. Sassy like a 6-year-old, eats like a man, a grown man, um loves playing with her little brother, loves cuddling. Favorite thing to do is to cuddle, literally cuddle and watch movies. Moana, and Moana 2. Now we've recently been watching Gabby's Dollhouse. So just a number of different things. That's why I say, the diagnosis doesn't define her. What defines her is who she is as a person, because she's a person first. Even though, there may be some controversy about that, I have become aware that there is, groups of self advocates that like to be identified by their disability first. So, like, um, respect to everybody. However you want me to refer to you, that's what I'm gonna do. But for me and my house, Harper is a child first, and I want you to see her and treat her as a child, and then offer her support, because that disability is not what I want, you to know her by. You can know her by that second. Know her by her smile. Know her by, the fact that she likes to play. She likes to slide. She likes to be in water. She likes to play with other kids. She likes to laugh. She has the world's best laugh. So those are the things all about Harper Lee, who, ultimately inspired our journey into advocacy. So Henry and I, this journey has definitely been one that has transformed us as people, individual people, and also as parents. It has transformed our marriage. It has transformed every aspect of life for us. A lot of people don't necessarily realize that, disability definitely impacts every aspect of life. And so, for those people who are out and thinking, well, I don't know nobody with a disability, I don't have a disability. So, y'all should take care of that. I was once talking to a friend who was told by a coworker that, the disability is the responsibility of the family. Okay, we know that. And what else? So if it's my responsibility, are you upset because I'm having to take off work? Yes, you are. So then that makes it your responsibility as well. So you are then impacted. And so as a society, I do think that, we can do a better job of, bringing humanness back into everything that we do. So anyway, I'm not going to get on my political soapbox. But just remember that when it comes to disability is something that impacts everybody. We are experiencing our disability journey early on in life. Most people don't become caregivers until it's their turn to take care of their parents. So just think about, that. Also realize that the disability community is one that anybody could join at any point in their life, beginning, middle, end. So again, we're all impacted, and disability definitely is something that I stand on, that everybody can play a part in, and especially as it relates to being in the community. And so, yeah, I will stop right there. I see that I have quite a few people that have joined me. I appreciate y'all for taking the time and stepping into this live studio with me and learning more about the Wildflower Alliance. Please don't hesitate to drop any questions in the chat. Last year when we did this, it was so much fun because we were less than a year old. We had literally just gotten started and everybody was so excited for us. And a lot of the questions centered around just, why the name and, what are you guys going to do? And so here I am a whole year later, getting ready to head into year 2. And I have so many exciting, amazing updates for y'all. We have done some amazing things. We have partnered with some amazing organizations. We have, accomplished some amazing things in the community, done some really innovative and unique things as it relates to our programs and what we try to do when we're actually serving the community. So yeah, I guess I'll jump off into that. So we did also, I think they told y'all we were doing a little bit of a scavenger hunt, because I would like to do some giveaways as well. So Giving Tuesday is not just about, you know, us asking you guys to give to us. We also want to give back. We believe in the work that we do, and y'all know I'm super creative. I love to just brainstorm and create and do things. I mean, I could do better on my social media presence, and I'm growing. Y'all keep praying for me. But we do have some giveaways that we are going to give. Let me check with my team. So while I'm getting that answer, I'll go ahead and start kind of talking a little bit about, Giving Tuesday as it was on last year. So like I said, Giving Tuesday last year was all about just telling you about the Wildflower Alliance, based out of Matthew 6:28. That's where the name came from. Wildflowers, as you know, are basically flowers that grow in very, very turbulent places, very rough places. If you are a Christian, you know Matthew, or may be familiar with Matthew 6:28, where he talks about learning from the ways of wildflowers. And so ultimately that spoke to me, because I feel like individuals with disabilities endure so much that in their lives that most people are not ever probably going to live through, and yet they thrive. And so individual with a disability for me represents a wildflower. They thrive in the most broken places, whether it was at the point that they were inside of the womb, and they encounter whatever it was. I know for Harper, which we didn't learn about until later, they think that I was exposed to some virus. I never showed signs of an illness, because my immune system is strong enough to fight anything off, so I never showed signs. But that little baby inside of my stomach was being attacked, and I remember actually one of the physicians that we were seeing literally saying, and I quote, "It's like something started to attack, but we could see where it stopped. Like it was like something was happening and it stopped." And that is always going to stick with me. And that's probably also what led to the wildflowers, because that was amazing. That was so profound to me, because you're right, she was under attack and I had no idea. But it was God, it was the hand of God that stopped it and that protected her. So I'm grateful for our journey. I don't regret. Of course, if I could control it, I would go back and probably try to do some things different. But what we always have to remember is that our lives are literally designed, before we even get here. And I'm a firm believer in that our steps are ordained. And so, that's ultimately, the foundation of, what I think happened. I think Harper was under attack. And then moving forward, you have individuals who have car accidents or who go through things. And then again, they survive and they thrive, and they continue. And so that's just what it's all about. That's what being a wildflower is all about, is that resilience aspect of it. And that resilience leading you into a life where you truly still can thrive. And then you have, champions in the community who will make sure that you get the supports that you need. And that's what we're encouraging the community that's not the disability community to become champions. Giving Tuesday, right? So champion individuals who need that additional support by giving to organizations like ours and like others who are doing the work. So that was what we kind of talked about, where the name stemmed from. And I'm all about representation, and I just feel like that's what it was. And then you'll notice the flower. So also let me give a shout out to my brother Trey Wells, or Willie Wells, sorry. We call him Trey at home, but Willie Wells is who helped me come up with this design. You know, I gave him the idea, and this is what he created. And so the flower is the alliance part of it, because we are not an organization that only services one disability. And so what I try to tell people is that it's not that I'm shading or thinking, whatever, I don't know. But what my intent was to make sure that I'm not creating something that's just for me, because I know that I'm meant to serve. And so I never want to, create things with a tunnel vision. I never want to create programs and launch our efforts and they only benefit Harper or kids very, very similar to her. What we have to always remember that disability is a spectrum, even in the same with disabilities with that have the same diagnosis, whether it's Down syndrome, whether it's cerebral palsy, whether it's autism, whatever it is. No, even for those kids who have those rare genetic conditions, all of us may have the same title, but it still looks different. And so that's the alliance part of it, is that I never, ever, ever want anybody to ever feel like something that we do is not for them. Hence our inclusive play dates, right? So our inclusive play dates are for both children with disabilities and without disabilities. And so I do believe that I'm meant to serve everybody. I try to tell people a lot of time, you won't find me preaching to the disability community because they already know. But who you will find me talking to a lot of is the community beyond that: service providers, businesses, city leaders, city whoever, anybody that feels like they're not impacted by a disability is who I really want to get the message to. Because again, my goal is to create champions. My goal is to create a community where everybody is supporting everybody. I do feel like we're moving that towards that. We're here in a time where people do have the heart to want to know, but it is very scary. If we're being honest about it, like I don't get angry anymore for people who say disability is a liability, so I can't do it, or I'm not familiar with it, so I just didn't know what to do. I can't fault you for that, because before my child received her diagnosis, I probably would have said the same thing. And I still see that as an opportunity of you having a heart to want to know, because you could just turn your back and walk away. But if we're standing here having the conversation, there's a part of you that's interested in knowing. And I think somebody like me that's walking the walk just put it to you, give it to you plain and simple. And yeah, it's scary. Yes, it's there are some medical complexities with people. So people may have G tubes, and you may not be familiar with that. But also, please keep in mind that these parents are not always health professionals, right? So if you watched our TWA talks a few weeks ago and you heard LaShondra, it was, all we do is say, okay, what do I need to know for this child to get what they need, for this child to live, to lead a life, beyond the walls of the hospital. And we make that sacrifice. I'm not asking you to make that sacrifice, but if you're interested in being, a good citizen, then you're going to say, well, what can I do to support? I'm not going to ask you to do the G-tube feeding, but I will say, just ask him how he's doing. Ask her how she's doing. See them as people. I mean, it's that simple, and it can start that. So never feel like you carry the burden of trying to solve all the problems that medical complexities is what I'll say, because not everybody with disabilities have medical complexities, so you can always just start there of you just approach, ask, see, say hello, just like you would do anybody else. So that is what we kind of dug into last year. And then that was a little bit about my journey this year, or a part of my journey in the last year of really reshaping my mindset as it relates to being a leader, or trying to be a leader. I'm still struggling with owning my title, but I definitely know that I can be a leader, and I can help people to, understand, and we can better, work together and make the community a better place for all of us. So let me see. Okay, nobody replied to my, that's okay. We'll figure it out. So I do want to do a giveaway. So again, I really appreciate the time that you took to be here. And so the way that we were going to do our giveaways today was in the form of a virtual scavenger hunt. So you should have seen on our story posted earlier today asking you to tag 3 friends. If you would have taken that screenshot and added the names of those friends inside of your story and reposted it, I want you to share a screenshot of that. And so the first person who could do that, that comes up in my feed, let's see, what do I have first? Okay. I have a Wildflower Alliance sweatshirt, a black Wildflower Alliance sweatshirt. So that's going to be our first prize. So the first person who could show us that you were able to, grab that story that we posted earlier, put your friend, tag your friends in that story, and then reshare it. And you send me a screenshot of where you reshared it on your story with the names in it. I would love to mail you this sweatshirt, Wildflower Alliance branded sweatshirt. So while you guys are doing that, working to be the first to do that, I'll go on and kind of start digging into talking about some of our accomplishments this year. We had an amazing year. If you have been with us, you know we launched TWA Talks, and so we had several families. I don't know if I've shared that I have a parent council, and my parent council is open to other parents who want to be involved with TWA, who want to be a voice, who want to weigh in and make sure, that we are creating those innovative efforts. Make sure that we are, doing things that truly, truly are inclusive. So it's all inclusive, right? Like I don't want to create it and it's the best thing for Harper, because that's what my everyday experience is. I know what she needs. I know what works for her. But I know that there are other parents and other children with disabilities who those parents could then weigh in and tell us, well, actually, that wouldn't work well for us. But here is where I see, we could bridge the gap. Here is, if we offered this thing, it would be, a fit for both children or all children. And so my parent council has been amazing. I met with them on back in, I think it was earlier in November. And I was so excited to finally reconnect with my parent council. It's full of amazing moms who even helped us develop our comprehensive resource guide. So, I don't just, call my parents together and say, oh, thank you for sharing. No, I'm actually putting into work what, the feedback that I'm getting. So I'm very intentional about that. So shout out to my parent council. I don't know if any of y'all are on, but yeah, we definitely have launched our parent council, and it's been amazing. It has helped guide some of our efforts, and it's been great. Oh, by the way, this is still Giving Tuesday. So I just did my giveaway. Please don't forget to give. Go to thewildfloweralliance.org/donate, or just go to our website and navigate to the donate button, and you'll be able to give. Help us reach our goal, guys. I think that we could do it if we work together. So I would really appreciate it if you share this live stream. If you share, hey, Crystal, that's one of my moms on the parent council, one of my good friends. I met Crystal. Oh my God, I gotta stay focused. Okay. So give everybody. Like I said, I just did a giveaway, so I'm still waiting to see in the comment section those of you who have participating in the scavenger hunt, where you posted 3 of your friends and tagged 3 of your friends in your story and shared it. So So yeah, let's see what else. So we launched TWA Talks. That was absolutely amazing, and I think for 2026 it's gonna grow even more. We are going to continue to elevate the voices of families, share their stories, because I feel like the best way to get people, you know, I guess like active or becoming a part of the community or championing disability is through exposure. You just need to know what it's like, what life is like for these families, how they are navigating things like that. So I definitely think that, or I'm excited about what's to come on our TWA talks for 2026. If you haven't noticed, we had taken a pause, or this is actually our end of season TWA talks, unofficially. So launched TWA talks. We did a Top Golf fundraiser that was amazing. Blew past the goal for that fundraiser, so it was just absolutely amazing. Had a blast at the same time. So we're definitely hoping to do more fundraisers where we can involve more people. And then the next big thing is, you saw, or hopefully you saw, that I was able to have a conversation with Terry Sewell and participate in healthcare advocacy, advocating for Medicaid, and those cuts that were coming or are coming if they haven't already been put in place. And so that was a really, really unique opportunity. I was so grateful for it. Terry Sewell is the sweetest, kindest congresswoman, politician, whatever you want to refer to her as. I never met a politician so kind, but also, you know, haven't met many politicians. So, just having a chat with her, talking to her team in Washington. I met them when we went, I was participating in the Disability Policy Seminar, which is a big conference that is hosted by the AUCD. AUCD, if you hadn't asked me, I would have been able to tell you. I can't remember what the A stands for, but I know it's University Centers for Disabilities. Yeah. Anyway, it's a federal program, and basically they are who are responsible for the LEND programs. And so, I participated in the UAB LEND program, and so I was able to talk to her. I started with talking to her people. So in the advocacy, we went to Washington to advocate for Medicaid, met some of the executive directors from the different ARC chapters, or that are here in the state of Alabama. Really, really sweet ladies. And they gave me a chance to, have the floor and speak. So y'all know I had to stand on business, right? And so, I think the approach that I believe firmly in, that I learned when I was in PIPA, is making sure that we're approaching with information that is, number one, factual, and number two, maybe pieces of information they didn't know that they could use that help them with their advocacy in Washington. And all I did was share that, and a lot of you might not know that the Medicaid waiver in the state of Alabama is considered an optional service under Medicaid. So what I advocated for was the fact that if the structure changes for how Medicaid services are paid for, meaning that the federal government moves us into these block grant structures, what's going to be the first to go if they run out of money in those block grants is going to be the optional services. And I think that was, they were really impressed by the fact that I knew that. And that's what it takes. It takes understanding all of the services that you get truly inside and out, so that you can effectively advocate for why they're important to you. They're important to us because it allows Harper to get services that otherwise we would be paying out of pocket for, super expensive. People don't know that with insurance, you only get a certain amount of therapies. I think ours is 15. So for in a year, you get 15 therapy services, and that's a combination of occupational, speech, and physical therapy. Well, somebody with cerebral palsy definitely is going to need more than 15, but that's their policy. And so what the Medicaid waiver does is it allows us to then take part in additional outpatient therapy services covered by Medicaid. And so that has been a game changer for us. We were paying out of pocket hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars because those things run out fast. 15, they run out fast. Harper goes to therapy weekly. So if you think 52 weeks in a year, my baby girl needs more than 15, and her mobility has improved. So again, changing the structure of the funding, moving. So basically, if you don't know, Medicaid is covered partially by federal and then partially by the state. So if the federal changes, it says we're just going to give you a lot of money, and then you pay, for the required services of Medicaid and the optional. In a state like Alabama, where we're already kind of bare bones, they're going to have to take everything that they can to make sure they're covering the required portions of Medicaid. So then what is impacted is the optional services. So, and listen, I'm not saying that it's happened. I'm saying it could happen. Okay. Let's be very clear in our language. Okay. That is the theory. So that's why advocacy is needed. So when the politicians are in Congress or in Washington, wherever they are, that are advocating for Medicaid services or the structure, the funding structure, they need pieces of information like that. They don't want to just hear, oh, don't go away with Medicaid. Well, why? And if you can offer them why, they have something that they can stand on. And then also realize that a lot of people who are making these decisions have no idea of what it takes to be on Medicaid, or what it looks like and the impacts that it has on people's lives when things change. So anyway, I was super excited to have that conversation with Terry. So I was told that by one of my friends who actually met her from his job later after that, is he had the chance to go to her office, and she told him that she has a picture of Harper blown up in her office in Tuscaloosa. And that I'm just honored. I'm honored that, she heard our story. We shared, hey, this is how we use Medicaid. This is how we rely on it. This is what it looks like in our lives. If we didn't have it, this is what happens. It moves Harper back tremendously. It impacts her ability to stay mobile, because it's physical therapy that's retraining the motor skills and retraining the brain to be able to move, because it's not sending the messages the way that it's supposed to. So we need Medicaid. That Medicaid waiver is definitely helping us, and we're definitely seeing progress in our big girl. So I'm definitely do what I got to do to make sure that she continues to get everything that she needs. And then, of course, I also believe in teamwork makes the dream work, right? So if we have to change that, what can we do to protect us, to make sure that we can continue services when you have to, pay for all the required services. So those are the types of conversations that I intend to have with our leaders in the state as we're moving forward. And it has helped us, so yeah. So that was a fun thing. And then, as you know, we did first, let me tell you, I graduated from the UAB LEND program, the PIPA program. PIPA is Partners in Policy Making, Alabama. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I recommend that to anybody who is a family member, a self-advocate, a family member of an individual with a disability, a self-advocate. That program is so eye-opening, it's so life-changing, and it's so important for you to have that level of information that you get from being in the participating in those programs, meeting the people that you do, rubbing elbows with the the commissioners and the executive directors, and they're coming in and speaking. I met John Kemp. I don't know if you know who John Kemp is, but John Kemp is a huge name in the disability world, and he's still right here in Birmingham. John Kemp played a huge part, a huge role in the ADA being signed into law. So if you ever were to Google the ADA law being signed in, and you see that picture of the man in the wheelchair, that is John Kemp, sitting next to that president, and he is actually the executive director for the Lakeshore Foundation, which leads me into my next fun thing. Is we had a partnership with the Lakeshore Foundation when we did our Come Roll With Me wheelchair basketball camp. It was amazing. It was designed under the Come Roll With Me structure. So if you've ever heard of Come Roll With Me is a program that was created by Kathy Carver. Shout out to Kathy Carver. Love her so much for the work that she's done and how she continues to advocate and has been doing this for so long, and has developed a model that's meant for other people to adopt it, make it their own, and take it into different communities. And that's exactly what we did. So for my project for the LEND program, I created the Come Roll With Me wheelchair basketball clinic. And I partnered with Brandon Pickney, PJ Pickney, Audrey Bentz, who were my partners in PIPA, because I doubled the project and made it my UAB LEND and my PIPA project, and we were partners on it. And we worked together to pull out this amazing day of a basketball camp. And what we did was basically take the same structure of Come Roll With Me, which is to put the children in the wheelchairs, but instead of them going around, so Come Roll With Me is designed for them to go into common places just throughout the community, learn what it's like to navigate the community in a wheelchair. We did it for wheelchair basketball. And so the children got to learn how to play wheelchair basketball. They were able to see how hard it is. They were able to, another aspect of the structure of Come Roll With Me is that we have panels. So they got to ask tough, hard questions and hear what the day-to-day life is like for wheelchair users. And they had that interaction, and they had that open space, that open floor where they could ask questions that were, you wouldn't walk up to somebody and just say, hey, what happened to you, but that was the space for them to do that and to learn the appropriate way to be able to ask those questions if that's what they want to know. And so it was just an amazing day. Children with disabilities were present in their wheelchairs. Harper Girl was there. That's all I can say. Homegirl, and then my church, who we partnered with. So shout out to the Respect organization and More Than Conquerors. They were also they were the hosts, helping us host the event in addition to Lakeshore. And everybody at MTC is always going to spoil Harper. Okay. It's what she wants is what she gets. And one of them aunties took her in there to the parent lounge, which I had designed this parent lounge for the parents to just sit back and chill. And she was in there watching cartoons. She literally made them watch cartoons the whole time. The parents didn't mind because they were just happy to be able to scroll. But Harper laid in there most of the day. So, she didn't play too much wheelchair basketball. But the feedback that we got. So if you look at our YouTube page, ding, ding, ding. So here is where I'll insert another game for another prize. So for this prize, I'm going to give away a $25 Jim and Nick's gift card. And what I want you to do is follow the Wildflower Alliance on YouTube. I need you to become a subscriber. And then I want you to just go and take a look at the video of our Come Roll With Me. We have tons of videos on our page. I know I haven't done a good job of telling y'all that I got all this stuff going on, and that is there. But it's a library of archived videos from our TWA talks. Another video that I published, which is called Lost in the Letters, which I'll talk a little bit about later. But it's there. So for the $25 gift card, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, and let me know that you've done that. And if you're the first one in my comments to say, that you're subscribed and that you've watched that video, I have a $25 gift card to Jim and Nick's for you. So also, remember, it's Giving Tuesday. Please go and donate on TWA, the wildfloweralliance.org, and click that donate button, share, send it to some friends, tell them it's Giving Tuesday. Y'all don't forget to support us. So yeah, the Come Roll With Me wheelchair basketball clinic was absolutely amazing. I cannot thank Pastor Green and More Than Conquerors and the Respect Organization enough, because that was the first biggest event that I had ever hosted for the Wildflower Alliance. It was the first initiative that I had ever created under my umbrella of inclusive playdates, and it was mind blowing. We heard so many people say how much the kids talked about how they learned. The adults were impacted by it. It was so eye opening to so many. Even Pastor Green himself said, "Man, I'm not doing enough." Listening to these people talk about what they have to do just to take a shower, I'll never complain again, and it puts things into perspective for you. And I was so grateful to hear my pastor say that. My pastor said that he was able to learn from something that I taught, like that I brought to the church. Like, that was crazy to me. I never thought that I could teach my pastor. But here we are, and I'm grateful for that. And he supported us every step of the way. I can't say it enough. Lakeshore Foundation came through so strong, y'all, with the wheelchairs, with the coaches, with the wheelchair basketball athletes. It was just, I know that, how like you play a sport and like you like, okay, like we're gonna teach these kids how to do it. In that moment, I was like, I know how they feel. They are like, this is a disaster. I'm sure they didn't say that, and they probably just left it in their mind. But in my head, I said, I bet they think this is a disaster. These kids are out here. But those kids had so much fun. They were racing in the wheelchairs, and they saw how fast they could go. They learned about the different types of wheelchairs, because not every wheelchair is meant to be a sports wheelchair. And so, it was just very insightful. So I was so grateful for that. And then moving on into our community partnerships, again, Respect Rally is hosted by the Respect Organization and More Than Conquerors. So y'all know we were going to be there, show up. And we brought the Culture City sensory activation vehicles, which are basically like sensory rooms, mobile sensory rooms. Right? They took these trailers and they redesigned them to be like sensory rooms, so that individuals could go to community events and have a space that they could retreat to in the event they are overstimulated, overwhelmed, whatever. And it's not just for children, right? It's for any individual that has any sensory impairment. And we brought that to the Respect Rally. And then moving on, we took that same initiative, that same effort, and partnered with the city of Birmingham's Department of Park and Rec. And, Dr. or Director Shanae Bennett is who partnered with us, and her team was absolutely amazing. Again, bringing Culture City's sensory activation vehicles to some of the biggest football games at Legion Field. I've been at Legion Field all of my life, and now here I am returning with a resource for the community, and it was amazing. We met some amazing people. We educated. Y'all know that's where I live, and the fact that we were able to educate people on how, what the resource was, what the sensory activation vehicle was, who could benefit from it. And it's not just for children. We saw people who were newly diagnosed in their adulthood. That was so that you could tell they just felt like they were a part of a community, so like now that they have this diagnosis, they're trying to navigate, and then they show up to Legion Field and see that we have the resources there to accommodate. So absolutely amazing. And then we did that all fall, so that was again some of the more bigger football games that were hosted at Legion Field. And then finally, our inclusive play dates. Or wait, before I tell you about the inclusive play dates, the Assistive Technology Conference was absolutely amazing. That is going to be a conference that you will hear me talking more about in 2026, trying to get more and more families exposure to that conference, present in that conference, because the information it is so invaluable. It is I mean, you're learning from the experts, you're exposed to you know, other technologies that could benefit, you know, your individual with that disability. You know, you hear about people who are in wheelchairs learn about upgraded wheelchairs that they qualify for, that they could get. And so this year we were able to set up a table as a vendor there. I participated and volunteered on the planning committee, and I was so honored to do that. I was so excited to just do work, just do good work. That's hosted by United Ability and APT. APT stands for Accessing Potential Through Assistive Technology. The short name is APT, but they are an organization based right here again in Birmingham. I think they're actually now housed in their lending library at not UAB, I'm sorry, at United Ability. And that lending library is available. So, you know, when you're learning about different assistive devices, they have them there for loan. So you want to get connected with them. They are an amazing team. Lynn Roebuck, but definitely Dr. Elizabeth Stewart, who is literally my soul sister. I definitely think that we were separated at birth, because that is my girl. I love her. I love what she does. I just can't wait to partner with her more, to grow that conference into what it needs. It needs to be a national conference. The way that she designed it, the way, you know, that she's pulling the resources in, the way that she's meticulously think it through is literally identical to what we're trying to do at the Wildflower Alliance. So hats off to Dr. Stewart. I love her so much. Hank Poor, you know, my friends, we're now family. The Hank Poor Foundation was there. It's just so many people that I could name. But the Assistive Technology Conference is definitely one that I understand families can't attend because it's a conference and we have to go to work. But I am literally trying to innovatively, creatively think of how can we still pull more families in to get them that same level of exposure. Y'all, I learned so much at that conference every time that I go. This was my second year going. Oh my God, I just love it. So then after the Assistive Technology Conference, we had our second inclusive play date, which was Buddy Bounce. And Buddy Bounce was hosted at a trampoline park. And again, my inclusive play dates are designed to specifically address some of the needs of the disability community. With that being said, what we try to do is, or I won't say we try to do because we do it, is we sign up children with disabilities and without disabilities. And what we do is we pair them together. And so they're having a play date together in the same way that, you know, any other child without a disability would be invited to a play date and have friends that they could play with. We're doing the same thing, just being very intentional about giving those children with disabilities the same opportunities. We got to be realistic. A lot of children with disabilities are not being invited to play dates. Mainly because, you know, and again, it's a resistance, reluctance, because I'm just not familiar with what to do, how to make sure this space can accommodate them. And so we just, you know, want to take that out of the equation, and kind of bring that equitable experience back into play dates, and not just for the children, for the parents as well. If you think about it, so, you know, we were blessed enough not to be that family that wasn't invited to play dates. We got invited. But what happens is when I get to the play dates, I'm hands-on. So I'm still on duty. I'm doing all the work while all the other parents get to kind of stand back and just watch or just follow their children around and, you know, with the cup in the hand or sit down and relax with a phone while they're, watching the kids play, and I don't get those opportunities. So this was definitely something that was born out of my own experience as well. So I was very intentional about making sure that parents could be hands off and they get that same opportunity to watch their children enjoy in the same way they would if their child did not have a disability. And so we sign up volunteers. So go volunteer or come volunteer with us for our inclusive playdates. Again, some of the feedback that we got from some of our volunteers at Buddy Bounce was just, I could cry. So many of my friends from high school showed up to just volunteer. And the feedback they gave to us afterwards, it was amazing, because it was not something that I intentionally thought about. Remember, I'm thinking about it from the children and the parents. I didn't think about the impact that we're actually having on those businesses, because we're having those conversations ahead of time, teaching them how to make their space, one that is, that can accommodate. And then also, my volunteers, I'm training them on how to interact with those children. I'm training them on, I'm not just going to throw you out, and say, good luck, figure it out, because we did when we were parents. Like, no, I'm very intentional about saying, who is this child, learning about the child ahead of time. So when I pair them together, we design, I wish I had, I don't have it with me down here. But our little booklets that, so we do train a virtual training prior to the event. And then we also have a little booklet that reminds them on how, as the adult volunteer, the chaperone, or the inclusion captain, as we like to call our volunteers, on how they can help those children navigate together, and also how they can interact with the child based off of what their capability is. So for example, we know Harper is a child who cannot communicate verbally. So as they're completing their little buddy bounce or buddy passport, so all the kids get these little passports, similar to just, like a little piece of paper like this. And then what they do is, as they complete an activity together with that friend, they're awarded a sticker and they get to stamp their passports. And so, it's just really an amazing thing. And the volunteers benefit from it just as much as the child with the disability, just as much as the child without the disability, just as much as the parent. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving, which brings us to it's Giving Tuesday. So don't forget to go to our website, www.thewildfloweralliance.org, and click that donate button and help us reach our goal for our Giving Tuesday goal of raising money. And then also, if you feel compelled, go ahead and sign up, because upcoming is our inclusive playdates. That playdate that we're having at Skates 280. This one is called Buddy Blades. Those children, this is open to any child with any disability on any wheel. So we got permission from the Skates 280 owner to allow children who are in wheelchairs to be present. So if your child is in the wheelchair, here is their play date opportunity. Bring them out so that they could get their skate on as well. They're gonna be out there on that rink. It's a glow skate party. We're gonna get them their glow things so that they could go and they can have just as much fun as their peers. And so I think that I have covered everything or most of our accomplishments. I'm sure I'm forgetting things like the speaking opportunities that I've had on sitting on some podcasts. Here recently, I spoke with Julie Gardner. So again, if you look at our YouTube page, you'll find that video there. And there are some other things I spoke at. I just can't remember. Y'all, we've been moving. And I'm just so blessed. I'm so grateful. I'm honored to do this work, and I'm going to keep doing this work. So again, thank y'all so much for joining. I know that I'm over an hour. I could talk about this for hours, literally. And so I want to do one last giveaway. And so what I want you to do is to go to our YouTube page and share to your social media the video Lost in the Letters, decoding special education lingo, just so that we can start to push out information that's going to help parents better understand IEPs, what some of the acronyms that they're faced with when it's time for them to have their IEP meetings, and we need to get that information out there. And I designed this cute little video. Again, it was my last project for the program in Connecticut, the ECI Lynn Scholars based in Connecticut. And what we did, we had to do projects for that one as well. So I designed this YouTube video that you will see that just breaks down IEP language so that parents have a better understanding of what's being said to them, what these things mean, and how they could better advocate for their children when they're starting their academic curriculums. So, with that being said, once you do that, and you're the first in the comments to let us know, I have another sweatshirt. Now, this one will actually be a red sweatshirt. This is just my demo, but this is a Christmas sweatshirt that we'll have. And so I'm giving away this Christmas sweatshirt that says "'Tis the Season for Inclusion," and it has a representation of different types of disabilities. And so this sweatshirt is definitely going to be available for anybody who goes to share that YouTube video, so that it helps us to reach more families and get that information out. Don't forget to go to our website, www.thewildfloweralliance.org. And please, please, please click that donate button and help us reach our goal for Giving Tuesday. Again, my name is Latoya Mims. I really appreciate you for joining us. Thank you so, so much for all your support, your ongoing support, your future support, helping us to spread the word, get the name out there so that families can find us as we're looking for families, because again, the disability journey is so isolating, and we just don't want anybody to walk this journey alone. So we're actively seeking out families and trying to support them however that we can. But with that being said, that's going to wrap us for tonight. Again, thank y'all so much for joining. I'm going to go put these kids in the bed. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, our upcoming play date is December 16th at Skates 280. Make sure you go to our website. You'll find the information about that. You can sign up to volunteer. Tell your friends to come out, volunteer, help us make this a very successful play date, the end of the year play date. And yeah, thank y'all so much. I can't say thank you enough. I'm just so grateful. So with that being said, y'all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.